I was being manipulated and they're not following through with their original
Manipulated by
agreement.
whom?
She broke these laws.
She being whom?
They're-
Ma'am, I'm gonna have to stop you because I'm not clear what you're talking.
Well, I think that there's a
I'm as lost as you are with this, Judge. Ms. Malik has called my office and left over 120 voicemails. She's made threats against my bar license. She's made threats against my family. She's made threats against my office staff.
why am I?
Ma'am, you have interrupted me numerous times.
I'm sorry.
That needs to stop.
Could you please, a little courtesy where this is concerned, please?
You've not granted me any courtesy in terms of your talking. Why should I grant you any?
I feel swindled.
This has to be one of the most unbelievable court hearings I've seen in quite some time. From the moment this woman walks into the courtroom, she behaves as if the place belongs to her. Instead of calmly listening and waiting for her turn to speak, she keeps interrupting and refuses to stay quiet, even after Judge Simpson firmly tells her several times to stop talking and follow the rules. She continues arguing and speaking over everyone. Her attitude makes the whole situation even more tense. She reacts as if she's in a personal argument rather than standing in a courtroom in front of a judge. Judge Simpson tries to stay patient and keep control of the room, but she keeps pushing the limits with constant interruptions and comments. Eventually, the judge reaches a point where he decides the behavior has gone too far and orders her to leave the courtroom. The reason she is there in the first place is also part of the conflict. The case involves a property dispute where she has been staying in a home but refuses to move out. Instead of focusing on resolving the issue calmly, her actions in court only make the situation more difficult for everyone involved. What do you think about the way Judge Simpson handled this moment? Some people might say he was very patient, while others may feel he could have taken action much sooner. Personally, I think many judges might not have allowed the situation to go on for very long. Let's take a closer look at how the rest of this intense courtroom moment unfolds.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I don't know.
I'm looking for every great recommendation I can receive from you today, sir. I have been in a very horrible assaultive position.
Okay, let me.
Since I left your-
Hold on a second.
Okay.
State your name for the record.
Danette Malik.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Mel.
Well, I entered your courtroom honorably last year at this time. I came in as a plaintiff,
Okay.
and when I swore in, I gave some information about one company, Akram Rashid, merging with a new owner. At that time, I, the customer, was not given the respect, nor any other tenant in my building, underneath the laws to meet this person as a consumer. It is of complete responsibility for a new company to acquire the permission of the tenant, where money is concerned, to enter a good consumer relationship. This did not happen. Time proceeded, and this maintenance company decided to enter person's property with no permission, started to manipulate them, stealing possessions, stealing automobiles.
Hey, ma'am, can I ask you something?
Sure.
Is this your motion to set aside the judgment?
Well, I did set it aside, and we met that agreement. An attorney named Kevin Callahan sat in a court with me as a plaintiff. According to the law, there are no attorneys allowed. So I tried to motion in at the end of August because I recognized...
Hold on, no attorneys allowed where?
When I first met with you, Your Honor, I went into a small claims, and I was underneath the impression through the courses of the law that there were no attorneys allowed in a small claim. So something kind of got jangled up. I presented charges.
Ma'am, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, because I want to make sure that I've got everything in front of me. Was there a small claims case?
Yes. And at that time, we made an agreement
Go ahead.
that after August, which was Akram Rashid's current lease that there were not supposed to be any changes to, yet that wasn't the case, I would be on a month to month. I raised my right hand. Kevin Callahan, yourself, and I made that agreement. He swore to me, my mother, which then reported it to my banks. I reported it to my private attorneys in New York City that managed my work. And I contacted the courts. I talked to him verbally over the phone from his office in St. Clair Shores. And he stated to me that I swear, you're gonna receive that sheet of paper. I waited, and I waited, and I waited. Spring and summer came to fruition, and I called the courts. It's getting, later in the year. Where's the sheet of paper? It was as easy as that. There was no failure of me to make the payment. I still have the finances set aside. I feel like they are trying to retaliate against me because I've continued to make reports.
It's hard to understand the argument being made here. She's claiming that someone is trying to take action against her unfairly. Yet she hasn't even been paying rent while staying on a month-to-month lease. When you look at the situation closely, the logic just doesn't seem to add up. Living in a property comes with responsibilities, and paying rent is one of the most basic ones. Her behavior in the courtroom also stands out. She's speaking loudly, constantly reacting, and acting as if she's the one in control of the entire room. Instead of calmly presenting her side, she appears restless and overly confident about a position that doesn't seem very strong. It creates an atmosphere that feels more chaotic than productive. What's interesting is that age doesn't always guarantee maturity. Some people grow older but still handle disagreements the same way they might have years earlier, reacting emotionally instead of focusing on the facts. In serious places like a courtroom, that approach usually doesn't work well and often makes the situation worse. Meanwhile, the lawyer involved seems to be dealing with a very difficult moment. You can almost sense the frustration as he tries to stay professional while listening to the ongoing arguments. It's likely not the type of situation he expected when he first agreed to be part of the case. There's also an important legal point worth mentioning. Claims of retaliation usually apply when someone is punished for exercising a protected legal right, such as reporting serious housing issues. Simply being involved in a dispute with a landlord or refusing to follow the terms of a lease does not automatically qualify as retaliation under the law.
Which is my sole discretion. I have the right to do that. Between the Michigan State Police that were called on numerous occasions by other.
Ma'am, I'm going to have to stop you because I'm not clear what you're talking about.
Well, I think that there's a position here where there's charges that he wanted to dismiss, but because he did not fulfill the obligation that he promised me, by August, I was being manipulated and they're not following through with their original agreement.
Manipulated by whom?
I, yourself, and Callahan last January coming into February. We sat in the Zoom conference. I presented the paperwork that was unorthodox.
Judge, if I may,
owner,
I
and
have
another
information
owner.
on this. I can.
And this change of ownership will not affect your lease agreement. She put unless otherwise indicated in your current signed lease. Well, unless otherwise means I can't do what I'm claiming I'm going to do. She broke these laws.
She being whom?
E.J. Elizabeth Jefferson, who claimed to be a property manager that no one had ever met. There is no legible address. The Attorney General states that she's not a registered or licensed person. The federal offices told me not to be in business with them.
Ma'am,
Yep.
I'm going to tell you right now, you've lost me.
From the very beginning, I presented, the first time I came in to see you, I presented both pieces of paper.
Ma'am, stop for a moment.
Okay.
I had them pull a small claims case involving yourself against Bell Management.
Yeah, they did things that were illegal. Fair housing.
Ma'am, that was over a year ago. I would like to say I absolutely remember that,
Yeah.
but I don't.
I'm in dismay myself, sir, because I made that agreement with you. I clearly don't allow a judge or myself to be taken advantage of by an attorney's office.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't know that I've been taken advantage of.
I believe I have been.
Okay.
I would
that's
not
fine.
enter your courts to present this witness information as
Oh,
very
ma'am,
imperative.
stop for one
Okay.
moment. Let me hear, I've heard from you for a while. Let me hear from the other side.
Okay.
Mr. Callahan.
Thank you, Judge. Kevin Callahan, P78273, representing Bell Asset Management. The matter that Ms. Malik is speaking of was a previous matter, a small claims matter that was filed against my client in conjunction with a non-payment of rent matter that we filed against Ms. Malik. Those matters have been decided. Those matters are closed. It has no bearing on this matter whatsoever. This current case, Ms. Malik even admitted she's on a month-to-month tenancy. We provided a 30-day notice to Ms. Malik. She never showed up to court, so a default judgment was entered back in October against Ms. Malik. We subsequently filed a writ of eviction. That writ was signed by Your Honor, and now we get this motion to set aside that default 2 months after the default was entered, alleging that no attorney present and it was against her rights. And I'm as lost as you are with this, Judge. There's no basis to set this judgment aside. Ms. Malik is a month-to-month tenant. She has to vacate the property. However, I will say for the record, because I'm not going to let my reputation possibly be besmirched on the record here of doing anything illegal or improper, Ms. Malik has called my office and left over 120 voicemails accusing me of crimes under the federal law that don't exist, made threats against me,
The FBI
my
told me
family.
that.
Ms. Malik, I allowed you to speak. Please allow me to speak. She's made threats against my bar license. She's made threats against my family. She's made threats against my office staff. It has been deplorable what my staff has gone through with Ms. Malik over a situation that is a simple month-to-month termination, and Ms. Malik refuses to leave the property, Judge.
Now the situation becomes even more confusing. The experienced lawyer involved in the case is explaining that the same woman who claims she has done absolutely nothing wrong has actually been causing several problems. According to him, she has been making threats, bothering the staff, and refusing to leave the property even after being asked multiple times. When you hear that, it becomes difficult to understand how her version of the story fits with what the lawyer is describing. The IT starts to raise some serious questions. If she truly believes she has behaved perfectly the entire time, then why are there so many complaints about her actions? The gap between what she says and what others are reporting makes the situation feel very suspicious. It almost sounds like the story being told earlier may not be the full picture of what really happened. You also can't help but feel a bit of sympathy for the lawyer and the property owner who have been dealing with this issue. Situations like this can drag on for a long time, especially when someone refuses to cooperate or follow the normal process. Instead of moving toward a simple solution, the case can become filled with paperwork, arguments, and constant delays that in many places. Housing laws require a long legal process before someone can be removed from a property. While these rules are meant to protect tenants from unfair treatment, they can also make certain disputes last for months. As a result, landlords, lawyers, and even the courts sometimes end up stuck in a long and frustrating situation that takes much longer to resolve than anyone expected.
We're just asking for that judgment to stand and the writ to stand so that my client can move forward.
The property. I never made any threats to anybody's family. I never made any threats to anybody. I did call the office. I asked him for the sheet of paper that he promised. He said he would give me a month to month after August. I said, what is going on? I said, give me the oral confirmation or the written confirmation. And I'm going to continue to pay the money from August onward. I asked your court I said, may I please have the sheet of paper?
Ma'am.
I did not
Oh,
threaten
no.
anybody.
Okay, fine. I don't know anything about that.
And
I'm not.
if he made an
I am-
agreement about a month to
ma'am,
month,
ma'am.
why am I?
Ma'am, you have interrupted me numerous times.
I'm sorry.
That needs to stop.
I did not threaten anybody.
Okay,
Okay.
fine. Always
Just
two sides to
horribly
a story.
Rude.
But the reality here is, you're before the court challenging, you're asking me to set aside a judgment to stay the writ.
She then told me, she flip-flopped with me 3 times. She put another sheet of paper underneath my door, asking me, E.J. Jefferson.
Ma'am,
She
that
asked
has
me if I
nothing-
abandoned my unit.
Ma'am.
Then she tried to take the money out
Ma'am,
3
okay,
times
ma'am,
in
you
September
know
and
what I'm gonna do,
October.
ma'am, here's what I'm gonna do.
But there was no order.
Ma'am,
of payment.
I'm
She-
gonna pass
She
the matter.
asked me to move
Quit
out.
interrupting me.
Yeah, she's still
Quit
trying to take the money.
interrupting me. That's warning 2. On the 3rd one, I act. You're before the court to set aside the judgment and the writ.
Yes.
So that the record is clear, the judgment was entered for failure to appear at 2 hearings. First one being October 6th, and then on October 20th. I issued of 2023. I issued the judgment.
Because I thought that the month to month would be honored. That's all. That's all that he gave me. That was all the information I went by, was what I was sworn in. When I'm underneath oath, an agreement is made, nothing happened other than me calling his office and asking for that sheet of paper. I diligently, respectfully, and responsibly,
Ma'am, you can have a seat before I find you.
At this point, it really feels like she has already been given enough chances. In many situations, 3 warnings are more than fair. If someone continues ignoring the judge after being told several times to follow the rules, stronger action usually becomes necessary to keep the courtroom under control. That if I were in Judge Simpson's position, I probably would have taken stricter steps much sooner, just to remind everyone that a courtroom is a serious place. Disrupting the process, talking over the judge, and refusing to cooperate rarely end well for anyone involved. Moments like these show how important it is to stay calm and respectful when standing before a judge. Outbursts and dramatic reactions don't change legal decisions. Instead, they often make the situation worse and can lead to additional consequences. The courtroom operates on order and respect, and once that line is crossed too many times, the judge has to step in to restore control. So, what do you think about how Judge Simpson has handled everything so far? Some viewers might say he has been very patient, while others might feel he should have acted more firmly earlier in the hearing. It's definitely an intense situation to watch. If you've been following along, feel free to share your thoughts and reactions. Your support means a lot, and it's always great to see people joining the discussion. Now let's continue and see how the rest of this courtroom moment unfolds.
Court recalls the case Bell Asset Management versus Melee. Let me, before anybody else says anything, because this is going way far afield. The only issue before me is the order that I issued in October, which was the judgment, and then the writ of eviction.
Well, I failed the October. I don't know how. I got confused. I'm not accustomed to the courts.
Ma'am, but if at any given time, here's what the problem for you, Miss Ma'am, and I'm just going to be blunt about it. That judgment went out from the court shortly after my signing. All right.
Sir, may I ask something of you? Once an agreement is made in court, isn't that you You respectfully gave me the month to month. He told me if I dropped the charges on his group, his client would agree to give me a month to month. I mean,
Then you're going to have to file a new claim that alleges that. That's not.
That's why-
That's not before me.
that's why I motioned in August.
No, but that is not before me today.
This is how I will state it.
No,
No, wait.
won't.
I
That's
can
not before me.
I can pay the money. There was never a failure. I swear I had the money aside.
They want you out.
I
It's
didn't
not about the money.
they asked me to pay. There was no probable cause in any level. I called his office respectfully. I asked him for the sheet of paper for the month to month that was agreed upon after August. She put a renewal underneath my door. If she wanted me to leave, why was she sending me a renewal? She
Okay.
tried to take the money out in September and October. That would mean I'm still on a month to month. I just said, where is the paperwork to confirm that? My bank has it on the record, JP Morgan Chase, September and October.
Ma'am, they want you out.
But she asked me to renew.
Ma'am, I don't know about any of those conversations. They have properly been granted a judgment for possession. They properly filed the writ or the order of eviction. I've signed the order of eviction. There is no basis, and I've listened to everything you said to me. There is no basis for this court to set aside that judgment or to stay the execution of the order of eviction or the writ of restitution. There's no legal basis for me.
I can't pay the money that was agreed
They
upon,
don't want the money.
Hmm.
This was
even though
a-
she tried to take it out in September and October.
This is a termination of tenancy case. I don't know anything that they've done regarding taking it out. This is
They did. They
termination.
tried to take the money out.
Okay, ma'am, that's fine. I don't know that. But even if that were true, the judgment in this
What did
case,
I have not done anything though, Your Honor. I mean, this is against the law. I
no, what would be against the law is me to grant your relief you're requesting.
School. At this point, it's clear the judge shouldn't have to repeat himself over and over. A courtroom isn't a customer service desk, and the judge isn't there to give step-by-step lessons on eviction law to someone who clearly doesn't understand the rules. Yelling or making threats doesn't count as a negotiation, and it certainly doesn't change the legal outcome. The landlord has already requested that she leave, and the judge has signed an order to enforce it. Yet she continues acting as if she somehow has rights just because she's the loudest person in the room. Now, after causing chaos and threatening people, she suddenly says she wants to pay and fix everything. But courtroom rules don't work like that. Legal orders can't just be reversed on a whim, and you can't undo a situation by shouting louder than anyone else. Her behavior is so disruptive that it's almost hard to watch. She's constantly interrupting, talking over the proceedings, and creating tension for everyone involved. Even the courtroom microphones are practically overloaded with all the noise she's making. Instead of helping her case, her actions only make things worse and push the judge closer to taking stronger steps to restore order.
They, like you have rights, they have rights. You brought this before the court. And I'm going to say it again to you, so hopefully it'll sink in. They properly got a judgment. On properly getting that judgment, they properly requested an order of eviction. I issued the order of eviction. That order of eviction, the judgment, because you have not provided a basis that will stand. Your motion.
I did nothing after August other than oblige where a month to month was concerned. That was the agreement. I did not refuse payment. There was no probable cause. She put a renewal underneath my door. I says, well, where's the sheet of paper? If you're trying to renew, And then she's flip-flopping back and forth with me. Well, I'm like, okay, I thought I was supposed to be on a month-to-month. That's all it was. She lied to me. And then she lied to me again. And then she tried to take the money out 3 times. So it got me confused. I'm like, well, then am I on a month-to-month? The bank has that on record. So I came in thinking that if I spoke the truth, because I was sworn in last year and it was agreed upon that I'd be on a month-to-month after August. That was it. It was as simple as that. I contacted your courts on numerous occasions prior to the end of August.
And maybe you don't understand. I just issued my ruling. Your motion is denied. What I will indicate is that the escrow will be held for 15 days and then it will be released back to the defendant. I will not pay the escrow over to the plaintiff. It will be released back to the defendant in this case. Thank you.
So what is the
Thank you,
time
Judge.
frame? May I have till the end of January, sir?
Ma'am, you're operating on borrowed time. I signed the writ
I cannot just
December 3rd. I signed the writ December 3rd.
to have a moving truck in, please, sir. I mean, it is the dead of winter. I have no problem moving out. I've been looking for another place because I don't trust the people. First, they're making an agreement with me and then they're flip-flopping. Could you please, a little courtesy where this is concerned, please?
You've not granted me any courtesy in terms of your talking. Why should I grant you any? But despite that, the writ will not execute prior to January 16th. So I will give you that grace of 10 days, and if I hear anything else, I may take that.
So I have to be out of this place by January 16th?
They cannot execute the writ prior to that date.
Okay,
Because otherwise they could do it tomorrow.
right.
I am giving that 10-day, I'm giving you that period. I'm not giving you to the end of the month. I'm giving you that period. That's as far as I'm going. I'm done.
I don't know what I did, and I feel swindled.
Judge, should I enter a order to that effect or will the court produce
Yes,
the
sir.
order?
Please.
Okay, thank you. I will
Prepare an
email.
order under the 7-day rule, please.
I'll do that.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Judge. Have a great day.
You do the same, but too late.
The escrow itself, when does that get repaid to me?
You need to listen to what I just told you. 15 days, I will release the escrow back.
May I enter a bank account number or an
No.
address to you?
No,
I have to give you a different address because if I'm not going to be living here,
ma'am, you can give it to the clerk's office any day. I'm done. You need to leave.
Some people spend their whole lives acting like this, and you can tell she's probably never been held fully accountable for her actions. That's exactly why she's losing control in court. She's used to getting her way. It's amazing how quickly a sense of entitlement can turn into a legal strategy when someone realizes that "I don't like this" isn't a valid defense. Trying to intimidate or threaten others to stay in a property you've legally lost isn't bravery. It's just empty posturing that doesn't hold up in court. Judges like Simpson see situations like this all the time, and handling them takes patience and skill. In this case, he stayed fair and firm, even when dealing with behavior that would frustrate most people. He gave clear instructions, maintained order, and didn't let the chaos take over the courtroom. What do you think about how he handled it? Some might say he was too lenient, while others could argue he was just patient enough to let the process play out. Personally, there were moments where I think I might have lost patience, but he managed to keep control and remain professional. If you want to see more intense courtroom moments like this, make sure to like and subscribe. I really appreciate every single one of you watching and following along. Thanks for tuning in, and take care, everyone.